about dinosaurs?
Sure, you want a story about dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't like the mean kind. I like the cute kind that are like the green brachiosauruses that have like smiley faces and they're cute. I like those type of stories.
Okay.
Because otherwise, the dinosaurs are scary and mean. So make
Yeah.
them cute dinos.
You got it, pal.
Yay.
Okay, lay down. Close your eyes and prepare for a world of fun.
Dinos.
One day, I was walking around. I think I was probably about 9 or 10. And back then, we used to collect soda bottles because you could actually turn them in and get 10 cents. And so Uncle Eric and I, you'd turn them back into the store, like the corner store, and they'd give you money for them because back then the bottling companies would pay to get them back because they could reuse them. They'd wash them and reuse them. They were glass bottles. No, it was sanitary. It was fine. There was nothing wrong with it. So Uncle Eric and I would go around the neighborhood, find discarded bottles and collect them, and then we'd turn the money and we'd get a Slurpee. You know what that is, right? Like a slushie.
Oh, were they 10 cents?
No, I'm guessing they were maybe $1 or even $2 or something.
That's cheap.
Well, it was a long time ago.
I could buy 50.
It was like 40 years ago, dude.
I could buy 50 of them. Dad, I could buy 50 of those.
Are you seriously changing again?
I need to put on sweatpants. I'm freezing.
Wow. Okay. Well, so anyway, that's what we used to do, right? Walk around and did that. And then, so we kept, every day we did it in the summertime, and the bottles would be fewer and fewer, obviously, because we were picking them all up. Well, the place where we lived had, like, this neighborhood. I think I drove you by there once, but you walk down the street, but then when you turn kind of back to the right the other way, it goes and it's a dead end with a little tiny bridge that goes across a ditch. And when I was little, I used to play all around there and catch turtles and snakes and all stuff. And that's the way we walked to school too. But cars could get through there. It was just on foot. So
Cars could not?
No, the road ended and then it went to a little walking bridge that went over.
Oh.
And then on the other side, it was another street on the other side, so we just continue walking. And so that we had gone that way because it was kind of, wasn't as much our neighborhood, thinking there's more bottles. So but that day we walked like along the ditch looking for bottles, and we had never been down that far, so we weren't sure where it really ended. And we just kept following it. And then we heard like some rushing water.
Oh, are you getting to Jumanji?
No. Do you really want me? Do you want me to tell a story
about
Jumanji? Okay.
No.
I don't know why you keep asking that.
I'm scarred for life.
And then we heard thump, 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 thump. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop it, Daddy.
Okay. So, it's funny. No, this is not a Jumanji story at all. Don't worry. Thump, thump. Okay, I'm messing with you. So we walked down, and like I said, we had never been down that far because it was kind of off the path of like the way to school. Excuse me. So, but we get down there, we started to hear rushing water in this ditch, like that, we grew up around. It was, there were turtles and stuff, but it was never full of water. It was just kind of this little trickle stream. Like there weren't even fish in it. It was so shallow. But so we're like, dude, I hear water, like rushing water. That doesn't make sense. So we kept going down, like following the path. And all of a sudden we see like this huge rock, like massive, like as tall as the house, right?
Is this a true story?
Yeah. And so...
Pinky promise?
Totally.
Pinky promise?
I promise, yes.
You promise or you pinky promise?
I promise.
Okay, it's a fake story.
Hey, you got my number now, kid. So anyway, this huge wall, like a huge rock rather. We're like, whoa, this is awesome. And it actually had like it was an old rock, but it had like these kind of dents in it, or divots, if you will. Almost looked like steps, but not quite. But we decided we were going to climb it just to figure out what the noise was. So we grabbed on and we climbed, and we got over the other side, and it's this huge like waterfall, and we're like, this is absolutely impossible. How is this happening? And all these vines, so nobody could see that it was there, because it was just kind of in this almost like a hidden forest type thing. And so we climbed down the other side, and we noticed like this waterfall had like some kind of light behind the water. You just barely imperceptible. You couldn't really see that well. And so Eric and I looked at each other. We're like, should we? He's like, yeah, let's do this. So we went down and went behind it, and you could actually walk through the waterfall. Now, we got soaking wet, mind you, but it was Florida, so it's really hot, so it was actually kind of nice. We walked through this thing, and you look around, and we weren't anywhere near our city anymore. It was this wide open, like jungle slash, I don't want to say savanna, but like tall grasses, green trees, looked like nothing had ever been there. And we're like,
Safari without the animals?
We're like, where are we? And you couldn't really hear.
Safari without the animals.
Yeah, kind of. It was just super peaceful, right? There was no noise whatsoever. And so we just kind of started walking around. I'm like, I don't think there's any bottles here. And Uncle Eric's like, yeah, I don't really see anything. It just looks really old. And so we just kind of kept walking, looking around at things. And we must have walked for like 2 miles. But you could still see the rock because it was so big where we came from. So we weren't really worried about getting lost or anything. And then after a bit, we start hearing this like, what? That's the weirdest noise I've ever heard. And we wanted to check it out, so we just walked toward it, right? And the first thing, like, we kind of went around this tree area. We see this huge, like, up above the trees is something round kind of poking out. Almost looked like a giant basketball or any kind of round ball kind of above the trees. We're like, what in the world could that be? So we get closer and closer, and we keep hearing it louder.
It's a T-Rex.
No. So we.
It's a brachiosaurus.
So we got up there, and we realized it's actually a hot air balloon. And we're like, we're definitely not home. What is this place? And all of a sudden, somebody says, what do you mean, what is this place? And we both jumped, and like Uncle Eric screamed like a girl. It was hilarious. Ah! And then I started laughing at him. And he said, who said that? And
Fortunately, the milk. Hot air balloon.
I'm just borrowing parts of it, that's all. Maybe he's going to go hunt for hairy white wet hair. What is it? Hairy white wet crunchers?
Big hairy white crunchers.
Yeah. So you were right about the brachiosaurus, because all of a sudden this long neck pokes around the corner, and of course it's huge. Like his head was bigger than the rock we climbed. And he's like,
that's actually not incorrect. That's inaccurate.
Did they have small heads?
Yes, their bodies
were huge.
Are huge, about as big as the house.
But their
heads, necks are super long.
Yeah.
Their heads are about the size of the room.
That's a big head.
But not the size of the house. You said the size of the house.
The rock was, I did say, I meant the height. The rock was the height of the house. I didn't mean to say the whole rock was as big as the whole house. Anyway, So, as I was saying, this big head says, I said it. What and who are you?
Wait, can it be a pink brachiosaurus?
Well, how do you know it wasn't? Yeah.
It's a pink brachiosaurus.
Yeah, sure.
It's my
So,
favorite
anyway,
pink
Uncle Eric
brachiosaurus.
screamed again like a girl. But after he got over that, he said, we're the Duke's bros. We're from Jacksonville, because back then he had a little bit of a twang in his voice. And he had a high-pitched voice. Hey, we're the Duke boys. We're from Jacksonville.
Are the Duke's boys or big boys?
We's the big boys. We're them Duke butters. Anyway, so he said, what are you two doing here? Are you supposed to be here? You look like kids. And we said, how do you know what kids are? Do you know what humans are? And he said, well, I get around. The others around here, they don't get around so much, but this is my balloon, and I like to travel in it, and it's also a time-traveling balloon. And I said, what? I said, where have you been? He said, I've been all over the place. In the future, there are some crazy things that happen, and I've actually been able to take parts of those and bring some of them back.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and so I said, like what? He said, well, there's this one thing called GPS that was amazing. It could tell me everywhere I went, but for some reason when I came back, it wouldn't work anymore. I said, well, I don't know what to tell you about that. And so...
Wait, GPS wasn't invented when you were a kid?
Yeah, it was, but not everybody had it. But without satellites in the sky, a GPS wouldn't do anything. Because that's how they communicate, is through satellites. I don't know if the GPS was around. Might have been discovered, but I don't think it was really used until maybe late 80s, early 90s. I don't remember. Anywho, so he's like, anyway, you want to ride? And we said, yeah, sure, why not? You know where we can find some pop bottles? And he goes, I don't think so. I think I know what you mean. I saw that once, one of those once, sometime in the, I don't know, it was like year 2020, I think, something. But people just laid them on the ground. They didn't really do anything with them. And I said, oh, well, when we're from, they're worth money. He said, oh, I see. Well, let's do this. We'll go to 2020, pick up a bunch of bottles and bring them back. I said, let's do that. Okay, so off we went. We get up in the sky, and then all of a sudden he pushes like these series of buttons on the little basket that we were in, and the whole thing like encases with this.
What does encase mean?
You know how a balloon is open, like open air? The whole thing just shuts in and it's closed, and it's this like clear, almost looked like glass. It just went all the way around, but it wasn't glass, like it wasn't breakable or anything. It was just to protect. And then the next series of buttons he pushed, all these lights started turning, and it felt like we were spinning, but we weren't dizzy or anything. It's just moving really fast around. And then some whiz bang noise, and the next thing you know, we start to come down, and I look down, and it's all these crazy buildings, like just people everywhere, and no more like forest or anything. We just land, and he's like, all right, let's go. And I said, where are we? When are we? He said, we're back at your house, but it's the year 2020. And I said, well, is it still our house? He said, no, you guys are grown up. And he said, oh, well, that makes sense. But let me ask you something.
You're grown up and you have a child.
Yeah, I said, let me ask you something, man. He goes, what? I said, don't you think somebody's going to freak out over a brachiosaurus, pink one at that, roaming around the city? He goes, yeah, I got that covered. And he pulls this little thing out, like this little device, and he presses a button, and bleep, 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 bleep. He shrinks down, and he's like, it looks like a human. I'm like, whoa, that is amazing. So we walked around, and dude, lo and behold, there's bottles like everywhere. We couldn't even fill our arms, just overflowing. Like we had our shirts pulled up and bottles stuffed in there. And everybody was like waving at us, giving us thumbs up, like we were doing a good thing. I guess because we were cleaning up what they considered trash, right? So we grabbed the bottles, and then we.
Yeah, but then, you went and you forgot you had like $3 in your pocket. So you went and you let him hold your money while you used one of the grocery carts, and you just filled it up.
Yeah, totally.
Then you rented 5 more, and you filled them up.
Yeah, and
then
he
you
had
just shoved it back in the balloon.
The bottom area of the balloon, the basket, it was actually about like this much space all the way in, but it was a storage area. So like in the basket where you stand, you had the floor, but then below the floor, there was a whole bunch of storage. So we're like stuffing the bottles in there. It was a crazy, crazy amount, right? And so that's what we did. We just filled that whole thing up. And then we go to take off, and you just like, psh, psh. But then it wouldn't take off, right? Because there was a whole lot of weight in there. And he goes, oh, well, that's going to be a problem. All right, give me 1 second. So he goes away for like an hour, and he comes back, and he's got all this weird wiring and all those crazy things. And he starts working on it, and he does some work around it, and then runs the wire up to a button, and then pushes that. He says, everybody get in, but you're going to want to kind of hold on tight. So he does the gas, and then he pushes this button, and rockets like shoot off the ground and lift the balloon up. And we're like flying up. And then he's like, oh, no, that was too much. And now we're like worried about we're going to fly into outer space, which would, of course, kill us. But he's trying to work the console and work the keys, and everybody's, we're kind of starting to panic. Are we going to die? What's going to happen? He goes, just let me think. Just stop freaking out. And so we just kind of froze, and he's pushing buttons, and boom, all of a sudden that thing wraps around and blah, 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 lights, boom. And then we went all the way back, and we're coming down, and this whoosh of air comes by us, and we realize it's like this 20-foot wing, and we're like, what was that? And it was a big pterodactyl. He's like, it's just Terry. And we were like, Terry who? And he goes, Terry, the pterodactyl. He's one of my good buds. We're pals. And he goes like, oh, did you ever hear why pterodactyls, you never hear them go to the bathroom? And I'm like, why? And he goes, well, because the P is silent. Ba-da-ba.
I'm too tired to understand jokes.
How do you spell pterodactyl, JJ? It starts with a P. P-T-E. Okay.
P-T-E-R... A-D-A...
Y. D-Y-C-T.
D-Y-C...
T-A-L. Anyway, the P is silent, so
let
that's
me
the joke.
Spell it.
Yeah, well, joke bomb. Okay, anyway, so he's like, Terry's harmless, don't worry about it. He's just probably trying to get home to his wife and kids. So we land, and then he's like, you guys,
you just said he was homeless.
To his home and kids. To his wife and kids.
You just said he was homeless.
Who? Terry? Terry's not homeless. No, he had his own cave, like over off Main Avenue in their land.
You said.
Did I? I don't think I said homeless. Anywho.
You said. Oh, Terry's homeless. He just has to get back to his wife. He's going home to get back to his wife and kids, or something along the lines of that.
Okay. Whatever. So anyway, we land, and then.
Oh, I think you meant harmless.
Harmless, yes. So we land, and he's like, well, I'll tell you what, boys, there is no way you're going to carry all of these back to wherever it is you live. So how about I just deliver them for you maybe tomorrow, same time? I said, yeah, that sounds good. Where do you want to meet us over there at that rock? And he said, yes, I will meet you there at the rock. And so we walked all the way back, went all the way home, and we could not sleep at all that night, just wondering if that even really happened, right? So we get up the next morning, before the sun even came up, because we really hadn't slept. And then we go up to the corner store and we grab 4 grocery carts, and we're trying to wheel them around, and we get them there finally. And getting them along the ditch was really hard, but we couldn't obviously pull them up the rock. So we climb the rock, we get to the other side, and he's standing there. He's like, "What took you so long?" And we're like, "Well, we had to get the cart and bring it. Sorry about that. But we don't have any way to get the cart over." And he's like, "Oh, well, that's no problem." So he just bends his neck right over, grabs the carts with his mouth, pulls them over, and we load all the bottles in, and then he just picks the carts up and puts them back. And he's like, "See you later. Have a nice day. Feel free to visit anytime." So we're like, "Well, we'd shake your hand, but I don't really see one." He goes, "Yeah, we don't have hands, dude." I go, "Oh, that makes sense." Okay, so anyway, we left. We went and cashed in our bottles, and we had so much money. It was crazy. We bought an Atari game. It was a game thing, and we bought 16 Slurpees and got totally sick. And then we played a bunch of video games at the store, and we were there for hours, of course. And then we still had some left over, so we took it home and just kind
Give
of.
it to your dad?
No, we just stuffed it under the bed to use for later on. But that was just the most amazing thing ever, man. We had the best time. We never did see him again. Next time we went back to the rock, stupid Terry was there, and he was just dorky, just "Hey guys," and we're like, "Yeah, we're not hanging out with you." So we just ended up going back. We never really went back there.
Why didn't you go? And by the way, I stole that device.
You did, huh?
So now y'all can turn into dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, super sweet.
I already matched you up with your dino.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Larry is a green T-Rex. You're a red, orange, and blue T-Rex.
Cool. Okay. Why I gotta be a T-Rex? I don't want to have tiny little arms. Help me! I can't type. Help!
But you have this button that types for you.
Oh, nice.
So
Very good.
you just have to press the button and it'll type whatever you say.
Very good. All right, say goodnight.
Beep.
Ooh, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Put the light in your eyes there. Say goodnight.
Good night.
I love you.
Sleep.
Okay.
Bun Bun.
Where's Bun Bun?
For the 4th time.
All right.